Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be shape control using iLogic. What you see in front of you is what we're going to build, and this ultimately is going to be used as a plenum shape, internal shape for sheet metal in another video, which is going to be linked to this one. Let's go ahead and start this. I already started an IPT file, and we want to stay organized. And you'll see why it's important for the dialog. So we're going to make our base plane visible, and then we're going to start building off this. I need this to be offset, so we're going to go ahead and select it, do offset, and we're going to do 4 inches. This is our starting point. From here, I'm going to offset it again, and this is going to be 40 inches. Let's get a little small. And we're going to do one more. And you'll see why we're doing this in a few minutes. Okay, so now we have that, but I do want to name these. I'm going to go ahead and leave our original plane by itself. I'm not going to mess with that. But I do want to call these so I can look at these in our parameter dialog. That makes sense. So this is going to be D1, and that's for depth. We got D2 and obviously D3. All right. So from here, I'm going to do our first shape, and we're going to start right on this plane. We're going to do a rectangle with a center constraint. And the first thing, this is the base. So we're going to type base, W for width, equals, that is 18 inches. Now we're going to hit tab to go into the other. We're not going to get out of the command. And we're going to do base again. H for height. And this is going to be 10 inches. We're going to hit enter on that. You'll see that the datums grow based on the shape that you just made. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Okay, now we're going to do the next one. And this is going to be a little different. I'm going to turn this so you can see it. This shape, our first base shape, is controlling, and this particular one is only for depth control. So we're just going to project this onto that plane. Say okay to that. Let's go ahead and turn off the datum. We don't need that. And say okay. Let's back that up. Our next one is going to be a larger shape, but this is going to be a little different. I'm going to start out with doing it off center. I'm just going to do an arbitrary location, and this is going to be middle, so that's what I'll put. W for width. This is going to equal, and this is going to be 33. Hit tab to stay into command. Middle again. H for height, and this is going to be 22. Oops, I did not put my equals, so that will not finish. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, now you will notice that this is purple, this is blue. This is because it's not fully constrained. That's the only reason. Let's say okay to that. Let's go ahead and hide that plenum. Not the plenum, excuse me, the shape. And let's go ahead and go on to the last one. This is going to be the same thing as before. This is going to be a projection. So you'll see the green, and that's the difference. My color scheme is a little different than everybody else's, so that's why you'll see this a little different. Let's say okay to that. Let's go ahead and turn off D3. We don't need those for now. Okay. Now from here, this is our control shape, and this is our control shape. So let me actually type this and put base, and we're going to do middle for this one, and I'm doing these case sensitive and uppercase. All right, so we're set. From here, we're going to go ahead and do the projection, which is a loft. So we're going to go ahead and pick the very first one and here. So you'll see this is square, and this is what I want. But if I would go ahead and do the next shape, because of the size, you'll see what it ends up doing to that. And that's not what I want for this. You can make sheet metal in this shape. It's not a problem. But for this particular lesson, we're not going to do that. It's going to be hard edges or a regular bend on that. So let's do the loft again. It's going to be the first loft. And I'm going to say OK to that. And you'll see it over here, loft. And then we're going to activate that again and do the next section. So we want the front and this. So you can tell the difference. So good to that. The next one is going to be from the front. Oops, I missed that. There and there. So there is our third loft. This is still one piece. And you can tell that this is offset a little bit. And I'll show you why we were doing this. When we are going to go into the next video, what's end up happening is I'm going to, let me open up this wall. It's going to go into this, and say for the plenum, we have to go around this beam. It's in the way. So we're going to actually shift this over to miss this particular beam. That's why we did that. So let's go back into the shape itself. And now I am going to control that middle. So let's go back into this middle sketch. And I already know how I'm getting around that, but you'll just see the reasoning why. So let's go ahead and pick this. This is going to be, we're going to call this LOC for location. And this is going to be horizontal. And we are going to do that at 10 inches equals 10. I'm going to hit enter on that so you can just see it update. Okay, let's go ahead and do dimension here. Actually, I'm not going to do it from there, and you'll see why. Because I want to be able to know the height from the top of what we're designing to the back. So this means I will have to turn on the base, make this visible, and I want to be able to dimension from here to the top of this one. But the problem is I have to do a projection because I wouldn't be able to select this. So I'm still in the command where I'm doing this. So I have to project that. I'm going to say, okay, we're going to make this into a construction line. So now I know where the top of this to the wall to the ceiling is. And this is going to be 5.5 inches, but since this is going to be the outside of the sheet metal, I need to minus the thickness of what the sheet metal so it actually grows to the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and minus, and we're going to use 0.09 thickness, and we're going to enter that so you can see what we have for a dimension. Let me show you this straight on. It's offset, it's down, and it's around. So actually when we put it into the wall, you'll see it right at this area is where that post is, and it's going to work its way around this. This is going to be a very easy way to control this. So this is the first part of that. Let's turn off our base. Okay. So we have these named, and we're going to go ahead and go to Manage, pull down iLogic, and we're going to add this form. This is what we're going to control it by. And for this, we're going to call it Shape Control. And hit enter. First thing that pops up is what we're going to drag. Now, if you notice, we're missing something. We have the base, width and height. We have this, and we have the location for the location for height. But we are missing these. We need our datums to be able to change the length and depth of those. So I'll show you why and how we can do that. If we go up here to parameters, you'll see this up here, your parameters. You pick on that, and you look in our list. We have everything, but these are just generic. Even though these are named, this is generic. This isn't doing us any good. So we're going to call this depth 1, depth 2, depth 3. So now these will show up when we pull up a dialog box. This down here we have just 20. I thought I named that. I guess I didn't. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do LOC vertical so we can actually control that as well. If it's a generic number like this, it will not show up in your iLogic box to be able to select and drag over. So that's important. So now let's go ahead and make that dialog box again. We're over here in iLogic. Go to Forms. Let's name that again. Shape Control. Now we have everything listed. So all you do is pick this, hit Shift, select them all, drag them over, and you're going to see it populate this. So this is where you would actually control the box from. Let's say OK to that. Go to iLogic. Now, if you don't see iLogic here, if you pick the plus, it will be listed here. So if you need to see the rest of this, it will fill up there. So if that's not where it is, hit the plus sign and then pick iLogic. So we have it as a default. We have shape control. That's what we called it. Now we bring this up. So say we wanted the height to be 20. It automatically updates. We don't have to worry about trying to go back into, what did we have that at? Height was 10. Okay. So now it's controlled within here. This makes it to where you don't have to go back into model, find your name, change these, go through all this. You can just pull up iLogic and you have your dialog box. So from here, let's see if I can, this is where I always get stuck a little bit. Let me select this. I am going to make this transparent. Let's look for clear blue. I am going to do glass. All right, there we go. Looks like what we had before. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Never trust a computer. They crash. You don't want to lose your work. Okay, from here, we have the wall, but I need an assembly for that. So I do have a wall assembly. Duck sizing. And you can see this is in the way. Here's the shape. This has a filter on it. We're punching through the wall. On this side would be your heating or air conditioning unit attached to that side. And this is bolted in. So obviously this will be inside, so you'll have to make an access door for your sheet metal, and that'll be the next video. So let's go ahead and bring that in. I'm going to place a component. And we did call this, sorry, I see that there, but I'm not sure that's the one that I actually called. Shape control, there we go. Sorry about that. Open. Comes in wrong, so all I have to do is switch this around and just pick and say OK. So let's go ahead and constrain this to the wall, and you'll see why I'm doing certain things to this. So here's the, the front. Not getting there. Front and to the wall. Let's apply that. And you'll see why it's not going to be exactly the right shape. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go to the lower edge of this. Say apply. And then I'm going to go from this edge to that edge. So for the sheet metal portion of the next video, because this is really tight within here, hard to get a tool. So if I put a flange on the inside, it would be hard pressed to be able to get in there. So the flanges for the sides and the bottom will be to the outside. This one will be the inside. So that means we will have an access door here for one to be able to get the filter in there, as well as to exchange it, as well as go ahead and for this particular flange to mount it to the wall. So now you'll see why we actually did that shape. Here is a post that's in the way, and we were able to go around this. What's nice about the next video is you'll be able to see how we build off of this shape, and we can control it from there with sheet metal. This is the first portion. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, go ahead and send me an email, and I'm more than happy to help. and answer any questions. I will see you at the next video. Thank you very much.